swear, ladies.
Yes, there's gonna be some changes in here.
Are first.
Hey, I'm about to do open mic, y'all, at that Assery. It's like a speakeasy, so it should be full. I was already in. I was already in. No problem. This is super cute, but there's nowhere for me to sit. Let's see. Thank you. Oh, this is lovely.
Gonna be a vibe, but we write these songs right in the moment, and you guys are my co-writers. You say, hey, can we try? Hey. Everybody in the building, from the front, the back. If you feel it, let me hear you say, all right. If you got you a drink and you found you a seat, say, well, we about to shift tonight. Hey, look at y'all. Now that's not just good. That's what you call badassery. Hello, everyone. Oh, how did I get you on my screen so fast? You're supposed to be a surprise to the people.
Technology will be technologying.
Technology will technology. All right, well, people, we about to have a real good time.
Hey, we about to have a good time. You remember
Ladies
that
and
vibe, huh?
gentlemen, yes, that's so good, was so amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, for whatever reason, my intro just brought us into the group, so she's gonna be here for the intro. How y'all doing? This is your girl, Miss Giel Domond, and we are here for another episode of Spirit of a Woman. Now, everybody who is new to this episode or new to the show understands that Spirit of a Woman was a book that I wrote about a few years ago that had stories and poetry by me and stories from other women talking about things from PTSD to divorce to early marriages to cancer to everything. So Spirit of a Woman is something that cultivated a place for women to share their stories in a safe space and educate other women. And then that book turned into a conversation. So now I am constantly inviting other people on the show. We had authors of the book when I first started it. And now I have other guests, other women who inspire, who are creating, and who are willing to share their story to help someone else. And we also, as I told y'all, are here for the brothers too. So if you want to be part of the Spirit of a Man episode, just let me know. But in the meantime, in between time, we have the beautiful, the lovely, the talented, anticipated Miss Giel from, not Lisbon now. I can't say Lisbon, right?
I live in Lisbon, but I'm from Miami.
From Miami, but she is residing in Lisbon, Portugal, ladies and gentlemen. So let's give a shout out.
Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for having me. This is such an honor, and what a privilege it is to speak to another accomplished woman doing great things and sharing her life and testimony to other people. So thank you for having me.
Yes. And from the moment I stepped into your curated space, I said, this is someone I want to speak to. And I want my platform to know. So before we even get in, let the people know who you are a little bit. Matter of fact, before you do that, I have something I want to show the people about you really
Wow.
quick, just so they understand what we about to get into, all right? Because I do enjoy your music, so I want to just give them a glimpse of what you do. So be right back.
All day yesterday, I waited up for you to call. It's already Friday. I was hoping that you would prove me wrong, that I'd be on your mind. Like you're on mine. Oh, I had to dry my eyes. I finally realized just what you've been showing me. This ain't what you want. No, if it was, you would have shown me and made me believe. But I was blind. A higher love made me blind. I didn't see it, no. I was so blind. Hey, I was so blind. But I took off the blindfold. Now I know. I know. Oh, now every time I see your face, it's taking me back where I don't wanna go. No, and I've had enough of this. Wish I could forget your touch. Don't wanna reminisce. No, leave me alone. I'm better off on my own. Hey, hey, hey.
Okay, I just needed to let the people before you came in, I wanted them to see what you do because I love the fact that I found out that you were multi-instrumentalist.
Oh,
Okay? Yes, I enjoyed seeing you on the guitar as well as the piano. But let's backtrack before we get to there. Let the people know who you are, where you're from, what you do.
wow. There's a lot in that statement. So I think that in a nutshell, my name is Giel. I am a community builder. I curate music and art, use those two platforms to facilitate connection. I am very, very involved in all things music and mental health, things that are able to lift us up. When it comes to what I do, everything is centered around that purpose. So I do a lot of things. So, but at the core of it, I am a woman of God. I love people in the best way possible I can, and I do that by sharing my life, sharing my story through music and art. And so, yeah,
Okay.
that is, I guess that's
So,
it in the small.
so you put that in a nice little bow, and I'm going to just sit here and nicely unpack that. So, so Miami, what was your main situation in Miami? What were you doing out there? Like, were there any specific projects? How do you even build your name from there? Like, what was going on in Miami?
So, born and raised in Miami, first of all, maiden day, 305, baby. Hello. Okay.
Oh, 305 girl. Okay.
Okay. No, but honestly, yeah, I did a lot. Music actually was introduced very early into my life. My father, my parents are actually missionaries, and my father played several instruments, and I was the one child out of all of my brothers and sisters who was enamored by the fact that my dad played these instruments, and this is how we connected. This is how we bonded. So from a little girl, this is what he would show me different instruments, and how to play them. My first being good drums, actually. I played drums at my church for when I was 7, and from there I went to performing arts schools in Miami. That kind of really helped to cultivate my musical skills and curiosity.
Mhm.
And I had a wonderful performing arts teacher. I was always in performing arts schools and gifted programs for music and in performing from very young. So Miami really helped cultivate my love for music in a way that was performative, but also just global, because the schools that I attended, we had instruments that were from around the world. I was very fortunate to attend a program in Miami at Rainbow Park Elementary School. Shout out to you
Shout
guys.
outs.
Where my teacher there, Mr. Mink, if he's still alive, man, was a blessing to my soul because he really did. He saw the talent that I had and was like, let's try you on this instrument. Let's try you on this instrument." So
Mm.
from, probably about 9 to, I want to say 12, maybe 13 years old, I was playing every instrument from marimba, violin, mandolin, steel drums,
Come on,
guitar.
Carnival just passed. You was out here with the drums.
I mean, it's possible. You give it to me again, it's like a bicycle. It doesn't take long for me to pick it up again. But yeah, he was very instrumental. Miami was the melting pot of the world before I even experienced the world. And so, um, probably when I reached about 19 years old is when I had my first real encounter with the industry, where I won a contest, a radio contest. I won a contest. They were like, "Oh, we want to know. We're trying to find producers. We're trying to find singers," and these were the producers for SWV, and doing some other big things there. And so I won the contest, and from there I started in the industry. So from doing backgrounds, music, writing at 19. So yeah, I've been in
So
for.
before we get into the 19, I just want to go back on something you said really quick because we are in the school day. Everyone just went back to school. How important, we have some people that are teachers that watch. How important is it for a teacher to recognize? Because we always, look to parents, and that's fair. But how important is it for a teacher to see something in the child and cultivate that along with what happens in the household?
I think it's imperative, first and foremost, because of my performing arts teacher, I fell in love, like I said, with multiple instruments and just with the curiosity of sound coming out of different, elements from very early. And it's because he saw that curiosity that he really did help to cultivate that. And later on in life, I actually became a performing arts teacher myself. So I became director of the performing arts program at a private school and would put on their entire musical events for the year because I had so much education and experience in music because of a teacher. So yeah, I'm actually very grateful. It's very important for teachers to be paying attention. And I think we have some really great teachers out there who are doing that. Even if it's not music, they might be really good in math, really good in spelling, really good in just maybe being the class clown. And why not put that child in a performative class? Maybe they might do well in acting, like really trying to hone in or help a child hone in those natural skills that they're seeing from very young. It's imperative. So shouts out to all the teachers. I've been one, know what it's like.
Oh, you too? As have I been.
Yeah, yeah,
Weird.
yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned your dad was a missionary. Now you're winning a contest to go into the industry. How supportive was he about you switching from the good old church, using that voice for the Lord?
Ah,
And you saying, "Mama, I want to sing." Do
I
you
want
remember
to
that
sing,
show?
mama.
That movie?
I have really amazing parents. I have very amazing parents. I mean, everybody has their challenges, right? We can talk about all the small things, but when it comes to the support, my parents received a lot of backlash actually because I was not singing godly songs. Okay, and they were very supportive. Actually, I can remember I had a single at the time in my early 20s in Miami um, when I was doing ska or reggae ska music. And when the big record Kevin Little's "Turn Me On" came on, I did kind of what they call an answer record there, and that answer record started blowing up in Miami. And I was doing all kind of tours, and it was great. So imagine me with this little tutu of a skirt, traveling all over everywhere, shaking and gyrating to "Turn Me On." And my parents are pastors, and I have to give it to them. They saw beyond that. They did not judge me for that. They actually saw it as, I think they had confidence to know that whatever it is that I was going, whatever platform I was given, was actually meant for something good in the long run. So they just protected me. My dad he went to clubs with me. He was like my manager, So of course he didn't like do all the business and stuff, but he was there. He was like, if you're gonna be there, I'm gonna be there to protect you. And so thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Mommy.
I love that for you. I love when parents don't put their expectations on their children because of the path they chose, but allow their child to explore. Message parents, allow their child to explore who they are in their own identity. So now
Absolutely.
you said you got to the industry in 1920. So now I went and took a little looking, and I saw, ma'am,
Oh
you
wow,
were
yeah.
John, you were John McReynolds. You were Khaled and Fat Joe and Timberland and Michelle Williams.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, oh, that's what we doing?
yeah, it's a
Okay, you had wait. I saw my girl MC Light.
yeah,
We had
yeah.
Donnie McClurkin in the house. I said, okay, ma'am, I'm here for it. So was this part of your introduction into the industry? You were just thrown in and you met all these amazing people?
Yes and no. So, the story of my industry walk is a very tumultuous one because,
Mm.
people don't prepare you for what the industry it really is. And, you've seen lots of stories of artists who go in and what happens, their life, unfortunately, is just takes a very serious downturn and they are challenged with coming out of the the bus that hits you. That's the industry. And I think from very early on, because I got in so early, I was faced with several disappointments consistently. And I think, it was building a resilience in me as well as building a knowledge of the industry that uh, the independent artist wasn't a thing then. So, really, God just gave me this kind of like outward the box thinking on how to continue because my talent was there. People always acknowledged my talent. They always wanted me to be a part of things. They used my talent. And sometimes they paid me for it, and sometimes they didn't. But that was still a part of the journey of me learning what I should have control over. And I'm very thankful for the way it happened. It was a hard road, but it was beautiful because it brought me this level of confidence and knowledge of what I know both behind the scenes and in front of the scenes that brought me to how I conduct music and business today. That people are still like, "Doc, how did you do that? Like, how did you come up with that?" And I'm like, bro, you don't know. Like, honestly, I have been in every area of the industry long enough to understand what was not working, what was working, and I was able to maneuver through it and come out with a knowledge that right now people are really like suffering to try to do. Like now we're talking about no more middlemen. Now we're talking about creating the music that you want, regardless of what the record companies are talking about. So I was thrown in, but I was grateful for the way it happened. It was hard, but it was good.
I I appreciate your perspective because I told you that I did music and I came from college and was working at the gym because I said I'm gonna be a rapper, mama, and my mama did what your parents did, looking at me crazy with a college loan bill, but said if that's what she wanted to do, and everywhere I would turn, they would say you will have talent, but you're not doing what was going to sell quick, which is we know sex sells, right? So I was like, well, I'm militant because Tupac was my favorite. So
Yeah.
I was like, whatever. And because I was so emotionally invested in the artistry. Uh, there's this artist at A&R called me up and he said, oh, we don't want to sign you. We want you to be a ghostwriter. And I was like, what?
In
How dare
that.
you? Disrespectful. Girl, if I would have understood the technical side, as you're saying, you did both. That is probably my biggest regret to this day that I didn't sign to be
Mhm.
the ghostwriter. But I also learned, as you said, the way things happen when you go into the industry. Because when I was on the outside looking in, I was at the lowest scale of it, and I saw some things that I was like, you know what? I may think that I'm strong enough right now, but I don't know what it would look like if I really got it deep. And it could have been God's protection because I'm like, we have this talent. How could we can't bust through that door? And God is like, my strategy is different. You're going to use your talents. It just won't be there. Just chill.
Learn what you can, grasshopper, while you hopping, and then watch what I do later on in life.
But I like that you understand the business now, which is why you were able to cultivate your own.
Yes.
So how did you go from the industry to what when did you decide to leave Miami? Because all of this industry work was happening in Miami.
Yeah, while I was living in
Okay.
Miami. So uh I left Miami. Oh gosh, I left Miami a few times, to be honest.
Oh,
I went to
you can
Atlanta for
always
a
go back
while.
home.
I'm sorry.
You can always come back home. So
Yeah, no, I'm grateful. I always had a family that welcomed me back, and I did that. I went back. I utilized that offer. Okay. But once I moved across seas, when I moved overseas, that no longer became an option for me. But when I left Miami, I probably left once again in my 20s when I was doing music, and I started to work with artists as well as some record companies in Atlanta. Um, just working with producers there and thinking that this was going to be my new break, because all of us, everyone's always like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, this is so great, like, yes, you're phenomenal. And I have a whole lot of stories on that stuff, but needless to say, i um I think I by the time I reached about my late 20s, I was feeling more and more disappointed with music, and disappointed with some of the way I was being treated in music, and I didn't know so much how to have a voice for myself in it. I just understood that people were goo goo gaga over me when I was performing, and but then they had no answers for me when it came to like moving forward. So I think rejection was something that I faced very early, which was a beautiful gift, again because of the resilience that it created in me, and it allowed me to say, or come to like the moment of saying, well, I at first I was thinking it was me. I was thinking something's wrong with me. Maybe I'm not as talented. And the story goes, when I was the last big encounter I had, where I had a major show in Miami. I had a big show in the down in South Beach, and it was a sold out show, and it was phenomenal. When it came down to it, we had big players in the house who came down to see me for signing purposes, like Sylvia Rome from um, Motown Records. You had Aquemini Records, which was under 3,000. They were in the bedroom. You had Andre Harrell. When he was living, he was also there. Like, you had a lot of big key players who were saying, "We want Giel. Like, she's dope." And but that night something happened. I think something shifted for me, and this is when I realized that I don't want to be in music anymore. Like, because I had all that big hype and people were excited, and right before, matter of fact, Jay-Z became the president of Def Jam. The president was Leo Cohen, and he was a big player in the house. And this was all like this amazing thing that was this was supposed to be the moment. And I remember the next day we had 7 contracts. My brother and my father, we sat on the bed, and we like said, okay, let's pray, because we didn't know what to do. We just knew it felt like I was arriving, like this was the break that I had waited for my entire life in music. And I remember we sat on the bed and we prayed over those contracts, the all 7 of them. And I remember we were like, God, have your way, whatever's going to happen, amen. We thank you for helping us choose the right one. How about none of them? None of them. It was as if, right after that prayer, the next day, we literally, one by one, they were like, oh, they all just backed out, one by one.
God answers prayers in mysterious ways, ma'am. We think it's a yes, and sometimes it's a no.
But I'll never forget this, because this was a real hit to my identity, because I'm so thankful for it, because again, when you get thrown into this world, and people are gassing you up about how amazing you are, but then they pull back as hard as they, like, you talking about, we weren't talking about narcissism before then. We were just didn't understand what it was to be gaslit, at that time in life, and or to be manipulated, in those ways. But we don't regret it. I don't regret it. It was a hard lesson to be learned, but I had to learn who I was outside of music, and it took those kinds of doors closing on, for me to kind of build up of a, who am I in my music, and do I believe that I'm talented? Is this gift really a gift? Am I talented, or am I just like everybody else who is talented in everything? Then I don't know what makes me different. I had to face those questions. So
I'm about to cross pollinate your mental wellness and creative arts. Because you said something very powerful and empowering, which was I had to wonder with all the rejection, was it my talent? And it just resonates beyond creativity that whenever someone feels rejection, whether it's a relationship, whether it's their work, whether it's their art, that
yeah,
they before they it's always internalized.
yeah,
And so the fact that you were in a space, especially early 20s, that's young. A lot of times people don't get to that space that quickly, where you could identify, let me separate others people's perception of me with who I am. How do you speak to people who are dealing with that? Because it sounds like the way you navigated the discouragement was your support system and family and prayer. But what do you say to that person, whether it's creative or relationship or on the job or family wise, where they have internalized rejection as what they're worth?
yeah. You know, the biggest thing is you only internalize these thoughts and these emotions because you don't know who you are. There is a level of identity crisis that you have yet to like reach to say to be resolute about who you know yourself to be. And I think that's normal for every growing person through life. I think our situations in life, they really do mold and shape us in ways to help us see our own selves in certain ways. But I don't think in that time of my life I was actively trying to learn myself, right? I just understood that this was what I was dealing with. And I think that that had to do also do with the way God was giving me that information. If I had to say anything to anyone, I can't say anything outside of what was my own experience, which is to say, you know, my faith in God really helped me understand what the parameter of identity was I can measure it against, right? I say that to say, okay, well, if your parents raised you and they told you you're oh, we are very talented, you're beautiful, you're this, they gave you the confidence that you need to be and to entrust yourself, and you yourself have proven that in life. You've seen yourself act out these things. I'm strong-willed, I'm perseverance, you know, these things that you can claim for yourself, wonderful. But for people who have don't have that, who've never had anyone to speak life into them, or even to um, identify themselves as being someone of value, the the only way that I knew to do that was through my faith. So what did God say about me? What did God say? Who did He say I was? And through my scriptures and things like that, that's how I was like, okay, well, God, you said that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Like, what does that mean? You know, what does that look like? You know, and not to preach a sermon, but to understand that word, fearfully and wonderfully made, like that is mega. You know, so to even wrap your mind around the fact that I was made fearfully, meaning very, very cautiously, very, you know, strategically, so imperfectly careful. You know what I mean? Like that to me, that was one of the foundations of me understanding that, oh wait, if someone is rejecting me or my talent or anything about, I have to remember I'm actually fearfully made. Like I'm so well made. If it's not for this person, then that's understood. But I'm so wonderfully made, as in like God took joy in creating me. And that's just on the on the lowest levels of your identity. Do you know what I mean? There's so many other things that you discover. But again, if I had to answer the question as clearly as I can, for someone who does not know who they are, I implore you to get to know yourself. Ask yourself hard questions. If you want to remove faith out of it, that's fine. But you know, I'm only telling you what I did. To remove faith is to say, okay, well, what do I like? What don't I like? What do I enjoy? What do I do just because it makes somebody else happy? What do I understand makes me feel good? What does not? And I think that in the part of getting to know that, you kind of become more confident in the things that you want to have happen in your life or in relationship, however you want it to look. And that allows you to learn yourself better. Uh, I would implore you to add faith in that thing because I mean, hey,
I know that's right.
only because, we can be lofty, but how amazing is it to know that there is a God that thinks even higher of you than you think of yourself? Because we're the most critical of ourselves all the
Yeah.
time. So,
It's so funny because as you just like gave that, I just thought back to because I had told you I wrote the poem on my way there. And
yeah,
then when everybody like received it and the live band was everything.
yeah,
When
yeah.
the live band was just playing, my spirit just started speaking on things that didn't make the paper. And when I looked back, I saw your face. And
Yeah.
now as we're having this conversation, I'm like, because she was on the same frequency. I was talking about the shadow work, loving yourself, that self-validation. God was the one that held me through the cries, through everything. And I was like, I was supposed to be here. That's why like I said, like this became more of a assignment once I realized like I saw the lines coming in. Like I was like, I'm supposed to be here. Like I'm tearing up right now because I don't the whole the whole birthday trip experience was crazy. And then when I got to Portugal, God really showed up for me. So
Yeah.
before I get to this space, I'm gonna need you to tell us how you got from Miami to Lisbon. Like, what are we doing?
Wow, wow.
What are
Well,
we doing?
let me hold space for you right now, okay? Because
Oh my gosh, I have never cried on my show. Stop playing.
I just want to say
Okay.
thank you for sharing that really vulnerable moment. And anybody who's watched the video of your poem has said amazing things. My mother watched it and she was said, "Wow, you could just feel the spirit of God in her." I was like, "Yeah, mom, it was so
Oh my
powerful." I was like, "Wow!" And this is
God.
the environment that I wanted for this. The thing is, we can go anywhere in the world and be the light. We can be exactly who God made us to be. And we don't understand sometimes where there is all hell is breaking loose. But if you already have, the peace of God on the inside of you, it changes the atmosphere that you're in. And when you get two or three of us in that's in the same atmosphere and same
With
energy,
two or three are gathered in his name, there he okay.
we're not preaching though. We're not. This is real facts. Like, and what you felt and even what you're feeling now is something that people often come to me after the shift and they're like, I don't know what just happened. I just know that I feel lighter. I know that I feel more um, just positive. I feel like I can go into the tomorrow without the stress that I had today. I'm like, bro, that's not me, that's God, right? Like I know that because when you're operating in your purpose, when you know who you are, it doesn't matter what venue you're in, you're going to be the light. You cannot hide it. So thank you for being in alignment. Thank you for coming. Thank you for not letting all the things keep you from being there because you blessed so many people that night. Like legit, legit. I'm sorry. That's why I said just take that love in. You remember, like it was like
Yes.
like kept going.
Yes. And you said something after, and that's another issue that I think sometimes women, especially Black women, have, which is receiving.
Mm,
And you said something that was very, it resonated with me because I was going on and on after it, and we were in the badassery, and you just looked at me. You didn't feel the need to respond in light. You didn't feel that it was just, I receive it. And just that small moment, even that was a learning lesson for me that you don't need to match conversational. Like if someone's pouring in, just receive it. And so like I just like I said, I was just my awareness was so heightened to everything going on around me. I was just taking it all in. So how did we get there? How did we get from the the disappointments, the rejection,
mm.
staying rooted in faith, and then saying, you know what, US not working, I'm going to Lisbon
Yeah,
and I'm gonna create the shift. Like that was a shift for real.
a
How did we get
mega
there?
fast forward. Okay, that's a woo.
Oh, wait. That's there was more in between?
No, but no, yes, but doesn't matter, right? This is the meat and potatoes right here, right? So
Well, if it's relevant and you want to
no,
share, feel
this is
free.
great.
Okay.
This brings it all together. Great
Okay.
talk. To be honest, so I had already done quite a few things, and I have a son. My son is actually 25,
Oh,
and
wow.
he is in the military, and he is doing his thizzle. Is he 25 or 24? I don't even know. Anyway, moving right along. I always knew that once he had gotten to of age and he was taking care of himself, I always wanted to travel again. I wanted to travel the world, and to be honest, Portugal wasn't really on the radar. Although I have been through Lisbon on 3 different international tours, so I've actually toured musically in Portugal already. So in doing that as an independent artist, which again is a testament, right, to the fact that that one day that I sat on the bed with my parents praying over 7 contracts that all fell through. God took me literally, like my faith allowed me to travel the world. I did like 4 domestic tours, 3 international tours, like, and all as an independent artist. Like,
On your terms.
wow, on my terms, learning every aspect of the industry on all levels, even touring, booking, all everything. So God was just like, you just calm, as we say in Portugal, right? Calm down. So anyway, I thought I was just going to travel the world. I was thinking, oh, I'll be a digital nomad. At the time, I had an online business. I was thinking I'll just continue with digital marketing. I was doing consulting work. I had gotten away from music. I wasn't even thinking about music. As a matter of fact, the last time I had done music was singing in church when I was living in Tampa for a little while. So I was out of the industry for 8 years. And had no intention. I always had the desire to want to get back in it, right? But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so far gone from it. And what does that even look like? I'm not even going to stress myself with that. Forward to saying, okay, my son is gone and done the things that he's good. He's taken care of. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go travel now. And all of a sudden, all my algorithm was Portugal, Lisbon. I was like, what's going on? And I'm seeing people that look like me. And I was like, okay, what's happening in Lisbon? And I said, okay, I'm gonna go check it out. I haven't been in a long time. Matter of fact, anytime I went, I only got a chance to eat the food, sing on the stage, eat the food, jump on a tour bus, and go. And so I said I'm gonna go for 30 days, and I got a ticket. I went for 30 days and found a really nice spot in Algiers, and I fell in love. I found community here very fast, and at this time, it wasn't really booming yet as far as people moving to Lisbon, but there had already been right before COVID, those who got stuck here, who were just kind of traveling through, they got stuck. They had really become made alive here, and I found out there was an expat community growing that wasn't really making a lot of noise, but people were who were doing things were talking about it online on YouTube and so. So I get here and I'm falling in love, and but by the end of my 30 days, I was like, you know what? I don't really have to go back. I can work from wherever. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll stay a little longer. So I
Wow.
took the whole visa, did the 3 months, and I was like, I'm going to look for a place. And I was just doing Airbnbs in different parts of Lisbon, just kind of, frolicking around, looking to see.
We
This,
love a frolic. We love a good frolic.
yes, like they do on TikTok. They're like, oh, black people frolicking in the grass. That was me. I was frolicking around. And trying out different parts of Lisbon to see, what I like to stay longer. And then January came around. I did that in October of 2021. January came around and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go back and stay. What do I have here now? My son is in the military. My parents are older. They're good. They're fine. They don't need me.
Right.
And I said, oh God, I'm going to go find a place. I find a place. And January of 2022, I'm here. I'm locked in. I'm doing all the creative things, showing up because Lisbon is filled with culture, musical creativity. There's synergy that is
I
unmatched
love.
here. Talented people, creative people. And now, how do we get to the shift? Well, I was a part of, I meshed into music communities right away because it just drew me, it just drew me. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. These people are so talented. But the thing that I found that was odd was that people were creative and super talented, but they were only doing covers. So it was as if they had perfected sounding like other artists and doing cool stuff. So it would be cool for tourists and internationals and things like that. So I said, okay, well, maybe, this is maybe what they know. I started asking questions, and people were like, oh, no, we don't do that here. They weren't really big on writing or creating together or even just jumping in the studio and working together. That I got turned down quite a bit, when I even think about it, saying, hey, would you like to just write some music together? Like, because I think you're dope and, you're so amazing. I don't know if people even say dope anymore. I'm probably dating myself.
We do.
Okay, just checking. But I got turned down a lot on that. And I hosted this event that was for free. I called it the Lyric Lounge, where I just wanted to say, well, maybe they just don't know how to write, because I come from a background of being a writer, live writing and improvisation. I say, maybe it's that they're afraid to write. Let me host an event. They came, they enjoyed it, they loved it, but it still didn't click. And at that point, I said, well, I don't know what to do. I had a series of challenges and tragedies that occurred within that first year and a half that I moved here, and it really changed everything. As it was a setup, basically. I really believe God just set me up, because all of my creative projects ended, so I had no incoming work, and it was insane. I was living off of my savings and my emergency funds, and just like monies that I had saved up, and the work never came back, just to let you know. So I've been here since 2022 and digital marketing and that stuff, and never came back. But what did come was music. So um, I wanted to get away from it, but I didn't want to go doing gigs and things like that, because I have seen the other side of being an artist. And so I had this mentality when I first came to Lisbon, that I don't want to get stuck in gig life. I don't want to just be thinking I need to take a gig here, take a gig here to pay my bills. And so how did I get out of that? Basically saying, okay, God, you need to show me how I can use what I have, because this is all I got right now, because there's no work coming in.
Two fish and five loaves, girl.
All that.
That's all I got.
I
He
was
gonna
like,
make it enough. He said,
what
I'll
we
make
gonna
it
do?
enough.
What we gonna do? That's what. And he was like, I got you. Let me show you what you're gonna do. And this time around, I hosted an event June of 2023. And I called it Testify. And I was like, you know what? You guys, I'm going through a lot. And this is, again, me, mental health, music. These things I've always been part of my makeup. And I realized that I was talking to people, I was dealing with other artists who people just always tell me their business. I don't know. I just have that, that aura. And I realized people were struggling. And I said, okay, I'm going to host an event that's going to allow people to overcome, because I understand the power of testimony. I understand the power of speaking it out. And I understand the power of a song that resonates with what you're going through. And so Testify was the first launch of this event, where we called the theme that day was fear. So we came and we talked about anything that we were trying to get over of fear, anything we faced fear, whatever. And I let people say what they wanted to say. It was like so therapeutic for them. And they came and they said things, and then I just sang a new song over whatever they were experiencing. So whatever song, whatever they spoke, they said, "Hey, I had a fear that of heights, or I had a fear that my relationship was going to end." I mean, they came with all kind of stuff. Like, people were really willing
Going through it.
to
Yeah, willing to
share. You
speak.
know what I mean? They were not hiding. This is how I knew
This
the
was needed.
it was needed. And by the end of the night, I'll never forget that very first night that we had a family that was traveling through that heard about the event. How? I don't know. Anyway, they
Same way
heard
I did.
very much like how you did. Absolutely. A whole entire family of 5, they came, and this woman had a crazy testimony. Matter of fact, they talked about how they got over the fear of death, and then because she was diagnosed with cancer 5 times back to back, and they just the family was about to lose hope. And in that moment, like, after she shared her point, she was also a believing woman, right? She was like, but God, thank God he saved me. I mean, who can't? Who comes out of 5-time cancer without believing in God? Okay. So, and I just know that after she finished, I had a song that I sang, and when I sang that, there was nobody that was not crying. And I mean nobody. I'm talking about my drummer was boohoo crying, and the son of the daughter, I mean the son of the mother, was like, "Thank you, God." That's all he kept saying is "Thank you, God," because he was like, "Man, I almost lost my mom 5 times. I was scared." And the fact that these random people came to this event and we all felt so liberated just because we, one, spoke our truth, two, we talked about how we overcame it, and three, we sang a victorious song over this, and it changed the game. When I tell you after that, it was done. We're in Lisbon and we're doing this event that began as Testify, and for
Okay,
a
so
year.
I gotta break it
I
down.
know
I
this is
gotta
so light. I know.
give me a moment. Okay, so first of all, I want to go back to the point. I don't know where my lip gloss is, but I want to go back to the point of first that you ran out and there was nothing left
Oh yeah, there was
and
nothing.
there was nothing coming back. And I just want to put a pin in that point that sometimes where we're seeking God for something, right? We expect the response is for him to give us something, right?
Woo!
Like, oh,
Right,
we want this. All right, well, here's the job. And it's like,
right.
no,
Um,
I'm going to give you the material, the raw material, and you're going to have to build it yourself. So you could have looked at that as God abandoning you because you
oh
had nothing, but you were able, and maybe you felt that for a minute, but then you were able to see that he actually instilled the raw material that you needed to cultivate your actual prayer.
absolutely.
And so that is just a reminder for us that when we are going through, they say that old proverb, good things fall apart for greater things to come together,
Absolutely.
that not everything is an attack of the enemy when it's
Right.
falling apart.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it is for you to get deeper in your faith and in your bag for
Mhm.
the prayer that you're asking God. God said, "Okay, I need you to put in the work for it too." So that's
Absolutely.
that's one of the big things that I got from you saying, and it never came back, and it's 2025 and you're still here. The second thing that I wanted to put a pin is your whole foundation. Your dad was a missionary, because God did this with me, right? I told you I was in rapping. When the rapping didn't work, my mom, actually, she's a cancer survivor as well, but she had to go to the hospital, and I teach dance, and she said, "Can you make up a dance for this song for me?" I made it up in like 10 minutes. She said, "That is so great. Can you go teach these young girls?" I said, "Absolutely not. I'm about to go to the studio. I'm about to go my drink, smoke my smoke. Ain't nobody got time to be doing all that." And she was like, "I don't feel good. Can you please?" Not I don't feel good, but I have to go to the surgery. I
Yeah.
need you to take over for a certain amount of time. She never came back to it. I've been taking care of this praise dance ministry for 20 something years. But
Wow.
the praise dance ministry, the crowd I wanted to be in front of as a rapper,
Mhm.
I opened up for JJ Harrison at the New York Liberty game, the McDonald's Gospel Fest at Prudential Center. So
Mama.
when you're saying that you named it the first time was Testify, and you saw that you were bringing healing, you were basically in an evangelistic moment. God was using your gifts for his good. Like it was about God's agenda. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how God works with our gifts when he decides you're open to be used by me. Okay. It's not going to be what you thought. It's not going to really be of the world like that. You may get some accolades of the world, but you're really going to see your gift work for my kingdom building. And that's literally what you explained from the title you chose to give it, Testify.
Yeah.
And
Like,
then the woman that came in, you said had a testimony. It was all set up for you to see God is in this with you. Like, wow,
yeah,
wow.
no, absolutely. I still sometimes like, as a matter of fact, on the page that we, because we've grown the community now. So over 500 just from the ground up. Nobody knew. I remember I came to this country. Nobody knew who I was. I didn't know the language and nothing. And what God has done in my life, and as a just placing me in position to do this different thing, to just introduce the spirit of God to people in a way that they had no idea that this was the case. And I'm not trying to say that was sneaky, right? They just did not understand it until they understood. Like everybody's always like, I didn't know what to expect, but oh my goodness. And what a testament to what God can do, regardless of what you think you should do. Like all the stuff I've ever been through led me to being able to be um, a good steward over this amazing event that I didn't. I mean, God gave that to me. I don't. I don't know. I just woke. I was like, "Oh, what we gonna do?" There's no money coming in, none. And thank God, I came to Lisbon a wealthy person, and I didn't understand that that wealth was going to dry up in a way that I would have to now tap into my spiritual wealth, which I wasn't even aware of how deep that reservoir was
You're
until
gonna make me do like 15 cuts from this interview to post, okay? Goodness gracious. Come on, spiritual wealth. She said my physical wealth dried up, which means
dried
we
up.
have to tap into. Your daddy is proud. I hope he watching right now.
Mm, I thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is not for the weak. I can say that for sure. Um but I'm grateful. Like God really did keep me. And it's still and is still
And
keeping.
is and is here. Let's bring the people here. How
Yeah.
did we get here?
Oh
How
my
did we get
goodness.
to Africa, my dear? We are in Angola. We are in Uganda.
Yeah.
How did we get the globalness to bring the people to Africa? Come on.
Yeah, like
Come
again,
on. How did we get there?
my parents are missionaries, you know what I mean? So
Yes.
I have been traveling with them since I was a child. So I have always been when my dad is asked to speak or preach or be a motivational counselor or anything like that. Anytime he travels, he's like, I got to bring my daughter with me, and I appreciate that because not only did it open me up to the world from a young
Not
age.
your road manager.
Yeah, he's always like, you got to fit that in, okay? Like my praise and worship, always that's my daughter. She will handle that. And I'm really grateful that I think like I said, he always knew. He always entrusted musical gifts in me. He saw that, and they were very good at curating that in me from early. So anytime I traveled with them, I traveled and I shared and I sang, and it was a beautiful thing to be there. Like Uganda was unreal, and
Really?
Angola was as well. Like just and Angola wasn't even a missionary trip. I was actually at that time asked to be a part of the International Jazz Day Festival in Angola, which was like, wait, what? Like a part of an amazing group that they brought over, and I got to perform original music there, which is like, who am I? You know, so
Just feeling your well. I have a question for the people in the chat. So Miss Giel moved from Miami to Lisbon. If you guys were able to move across the waters with no hesitation, I want y'all to
Woo!
put in the chat, where would y'all end up? Don't worry about the physical or the spiritual wealth. Y'all gonna have it.
Yeah, where you
Where would y'all want to go? I want to see in the chat. But yes, so that was when I saw the Africa, when I saw you post that, I was like, yes, because I love visit. I've done Egypt, Morocco, and Ghana so far. So I'm trying to do all the countries. And so when I saw you in Uganda, and it's just you were like, I just made up a song on the spot for the children. It was just so amazing. So I was just excited for you. At first, I was like, wait, because I reached out to you for the interview. I said, wait, is she gonna be
Oh, what's
there?
going on? Like what? The doors be swinging open, and we
And
just
you walking on through them. So with you having this global presence as a creative, do you ever feel like your voice, and especially as a creative, do you feel like your voice has a responsibility
oh
to
yes,
speak to what is going on in the world? You know, environmental experiences. How do you fit your music into that? Because first of all, I didn't even know, I couldn't even put you in a box. As I was going through your songs, I said, "Oh wait, she's here. She's okay. Yeah, she's just eclectic. Like there's no pop, R&B, Scott. Like it's just you are an artiste. Period, and you do what you feel, and I love that because that's how I am. But how do you handle and how do you express that part of being a creative? As Nina Simone says, we have to be responsible to be a voice for what's going on in our community. How does that show up for you?
Yeah, so this is a very important question, and one that I have really dealt delicately with because I have been introduced to so many things. So I'm not a social singer or social conscious singer, or a social conscious artist, but I am conscious of my community. I'm conscious of my surroundings. I'm conscious of those that I have hands on or I can touch. In my heart, where I cannot touch, my prayers go. And so, when it comes to what I speak about or sing about, I really try to watch what I'm speaking on, for the simple fact that I don't always have all the details. And so, what does not come out in public is where I talk to God about it and we discuss it. And my prayers, and if it is that it's something I feel like God is saying I need to speak up about, then I will. I believe in like godly confrontation. I believe in saying, "Hey, this is not right." And when we had a lot of things happening, during the riots, and unfortunately before COVID, when there was lots of just violence for no reason in the streets, I spoke up about those things, and I prayed out loud in front. You know what I mean? Not just in behind. Now I'm on a global scale. This is a different level of social awareness. And I'm learning so much, not just about what's happening in the world, but also what my place is on my own beliefs and my own thoughts, and what I stand with, what I don't stand with, what I understand but will not join in, right? Because there's just a level of wisdom I'm trying to use. And I'm not saying I have all the answers. Again, majority of my conversations socially, I talk to God about. And if it is that I'm asked specifically about something that I have knowledge about and understanding about, then I will speak about. But I'm very conscious of that responsibility. And if anything, I learn more about what's happening in the world now that I live in a different part of the world. Because as an American person, that we don't Americans don't know one third of what's really going on. Okay, so there's so much limitation in truth and knowledge and facts for American. When you're living abroad, then it's like, oh wow, I wasn't even aware that this was happening. Let alone did anybody talk about it on the news. So I see injustices here in Lisbon. I see injustices here in Portugal, things that I have also stood with and understood that, wow, this affects me because now I live here. This affects me because now I am a part of this community. This affects me because these are people of my diaspora. And I understand that first and foremost, I have a responsibility to pray. Secondly, how I show up is the best way I know how, with knowledge and understanding, right? So if I need to show up because I need to give, then I'm gonna show up and give. If I need to show up because we're protesting, then I'm gonna show up and protest if this is what God is saying to do. Or if I need to speak about it, I wait until I have good knowledge about it because I understand there's so much I don't know as a human.
And that's smart and that's responsible. And I respect that. Sometimes people just want to be seen and it feels ingenuine. So they're speaking on things that they don't really have knowledge on. So I think that's actually a responsible and more authentic way to approach it. And you seem like when you speak when you sing or the music I've heard, it's about the natural emotion that everyone feels no matter what else is going on in the world. And that's love. Right. So I think that is you're calling your space to promote the and emote the positivity amidst the chaos.
Mhm.
So I appreciate that. Sister Denise, she said she will move to Ghana or Thailand. Now
Wow.
I've been to Thailand, and I'm gonna say I probably would say Thailand over Ghana.
Really? Wow. Is it because it's the food?
Do I get my black card revoked? No.
Possibly.
I
Because
know I
Ghana's
said
very
that.
hot
It's
right
on
now. The
record.
heck
It's on record. No, I love my time in Ghana, but I don't know.
really?
It was. Have you ever been to
No,
Thailand?
I gotta put it on my list. I haven't
You
been.
have to. And I did a dual tour. I did Japan and Thailand. And so that was, and then you got Vietnam and Bali right there.
Oh
So it's just like I didn't do those two, but I'm like, there's so much. Yeah, I love Ghana.
don't
I'm gonna
get
keep
sugar.
moving. I'm gonna keep moving before I dig a hole. So it sounds like you also feed off of the creativity of other people around you with the space. You love to do impromptu songs. That's all about feeding off the energy. So what keeps you inspired?
I would tell you, I don't call it feeding off because feeding off just sounds so negative. I understand the
Mm.
power of synergy. I understand that there is a flow that occurs that happens because, first and foremost, I also understand there's nothing new under the sun, right? Everything, energy does not die, it just continues, right? So when we are moving with a synergy, it's natural for us to just like throw it back, like we're gonna share it, we're gonna throw it back, we're gonna all live in that synergy. So it, for me, it doesn't feel like feeding off, right? It feels like I feel you, and I'm right there with you, and I'm throwing it back at you, and I want you to throw it back at me, and I want us to like just keep going. How I stay creative outside of those types of environments, I really think that I have my own little things that I do, right? Like I like to paint, I like to write, I like to create music, I produce. I'm always trying to like just try new things, pottery, like anything that would pique my interest that allows me to one be in like a kind of a serene state, and use my hands maybe, or just use color, sound. These things, all these things really spark creativity for me. The ocean sparks creativity for me. I can sit at the ocean and for some reason just feel, of course, serene and calm, but then also hear sound that I don't hear on a normal basis. And that sound plays like songs in my head, like I'm music in my head. I could just, so those things, like I'm one of the people who hear music in everything. So
I love that. So and yes, I do appreciate the synergy word better than the feeding off. I do like that. So with that, keeping that inspiration, one of the big things as a creative myself is that when you are in a stuck mental space, when you don't clear your mind, that will obviously block your creativity. So Rainwell, did I
mhm,
say it right? Rainwell?
yeah, very well. Mhm.
Okay, Rainwell is a creative way to address mental wellness. Is that an app that you created as well?
Yes, so right now we're in beta mode and we are revamping, and so I'm also getting over my own ideals of what I think it should look like. But yes, basically, Rainwell, we are using creative ways, 8 wells that we like to say, right? That we use for activities for maintaining your mental health. So everything from food, nutrition, plant therapy, movement, faith and religion, as well as I'm trying to think off the top of my head of everything. But
You just have to put all this stuff in the chat so people can also go for themselves and
yes,
look when they get a
yeah, it's
chance.
actually still in. I mean, you can go to
Beta.
rainwell.com and it's there, as well as on Instagram, Rainwell Global. And so this is just one of those things that I found that creative ways to maintain my mental health, and how these things not only bring peace and clarity and calm in my life, but they also help me get unstuck. So
Is there anything in particular like you may struggle with, like anxiety or like overthinking? Or like, do you have any spaces where it's like, I deal with this specifically, which is what encouraged me to do this, or you just felt it was a need?
well, so as a creative person, there are always lots of thoughts and ideas in my head. So I would not deny that overthinking was something that I often found myself being challenged with, not for the sake of not being able to make a choice, but just understanding that the roads can go like this, right? And understanding that what do I want out of it? Okay, well, if I do this, then I could do this like that. Overthinking can be a thing sometimes. But the thing that really brought Rainwell to life was unfortunately in 2022, I lost my nephew to suicide depression. And that was probably the cap for me because he was not the first, but he was the closest to home. So I have lost several really good friends in the music industry, unfortunately, to suicide because of depression. It's something that I myself have been challenged with majority of my life because, as we talked about, some of the challenges with rejection and identity and things like that. Even being, a person who had a good family and good upbringing, I think that when you are unaware of who you are, you are susceptible to what people say or what they say you are, and that can obviously leave a tear in the soul in the sense of you not knowing who you are. And yeah, depression was something that probably was the biggest challenge for me, especially once I came over here. It was as if all the things that I had not dealt with hit me like a semi truck. So the way of life here in Lisbon is different, right? So it's not the way you live life in America. It's the hustle is not the hustle here. Everything is hurry up and wait, and hurry up and wait, and then if I feel like it. So that alone, can cause a frustration. But then in the quiet, which felt so great at first, the
At
calm,
first, until the thoughts come.
not just the thoughts, but just all of the memories, all of the, it was as if, God really did bring me here so that I could heal in a way that I have never been able to heal before in my entire life. So dealing with, my life history of and phasing in phases, so it was like, okay, well, you had to overcome this, you have to overcome this, you have to overcome this, and you've been surviving for a very long time, and you are not even in a place where you can actually be at peace, right? So you're just kind of still processing deep hurt, and losing my nephew was
Just like
like,
not living.
yeah, right, right. So yeah, you can in that mode, you can make a lot of money, you can do a lot of
Survival
things,
mode. Yeah.
you can make stuff happen. Like, I mean, it seems beautiful, but
But
on
the
the
soul feels empty. Like it knows. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
big facts. So, and I'm very grateful that uh, that happened. I think I had to be in an environment where there was um, no one who could be a crutch for me. Like it was like there was no way that I could say, oh well, I'll just call my family, or I'll just go to my family's house, or nothing comforting. It was, let's deal with this, and that brought up some very dark things that I did not know I had buried inside of me for a very long time, and thank God for the space and time. And even though I didn't remember, this was all happening also when I didn't have any income. So even that alone, and how I survived 3 years here on no income, was just
In a strange land.
a strange land, in a place where nobody knew who I was outside of the communities that I
Yeah.
was becoming.
Wow.
Um,
You are brave. You are bold. You is smart. You is kind. No, for real. I had to throw that joke in because I didn't want to get too serious with myself. But no, for real. Like for you to say when it rains, it pours, and I'm gonna endure it without the umbrella. I'm just gonna let it rain
oh
on
yeah,
me.
I needed the rain, and
So
I needed it. Yeah.
wow.
I actually say that I love the rain. Like the rain is actually a favorite of mine because in a slogan and saying for myself, I said I love the rain because after the rain things grow. And I understood that I was going through the darkest season of my life, but it was needed and necessary for me to come out on the other end and be who I'm supposed to be. I had to take this dark road, the dark night of the soul, some would call it or whatever. But I
Yeah, Dark Night of the Soul. Yeah, that's what I was told when
yeah,
I
that
had
was
my.
heavy. Heavy. He was dealing with me.
And
So
I just want to make a note to this for the people, them.
yeah, for the people
So
there.
one thing that I've learned, and I even said it like in the freestyle part of the poem, and what you're saying here is you have to deal with your trauma and your pain. You cannot
Mhm.
outrun it. You
Nope.
can just delay it
That's all I did.
because it's going to show up somewhere else in your life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's you burying yourself in work, whether it's you how you interact with other people. And us as a community, I applaud you for doing this, as a Black woman, as a woman, as a person of color, because our community is slowly getting into that space of understanding that mental health is a thing and we should go to therapy. And I always say when people be like therapy, I'm like, shoot, just being Black, you need to go to therapy. Forget about the other life trauma that you experienced in your childhood.
That
So I feel like, we are getting into a space where people are understanding how important um therapy is, along with your faith in God. I think the days of just praying it away, people are waking up and saying prayer is part of the toolbox,
yes.
and we have to do work on our own as well. And I'm proud because that was one of the things that I used to hate in the Christian world, how we just thought that we just give everything to God, and that obliviated us from all types of work. So I just want people who hear this to know that there is work for you to do as well in your healing process, in your growing process. God will lead and direct, but you have work to do as well. And I just want to commend you for not just being a survivor, but taking your pain and creating a passion. And sometimes God will give you the pain so you can show your passion and
Yeah.
be the key for other people's locked doors.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that gift and being obedient and willing to weather the storm, because that is not easy. And I didn't realize how many people don't like to face themselves until I had told my friend. I was like, yeah, I'm doing therapy. She was like, this was years ago. She's like,
Mm.
I'm so proud of you. I'm like, there. She was like, you don't understand how hard it is for people to sit with themselves.
Yeah.
And when she said that, I still didn't really understand it. And then, as you said, we're in the era of where people are understanding what narcissism is and stuff. As I'm going, I said, oh, people don't like to be accountable. People don't like to look at themselves. I said, okay, I get it. This is not what everybody does. This is not the norm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to, who's Brother Thomas said, faith without works is dead. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like I wholeheartedly believe that. Thank you for being so vulnerable in that moment as well and sharing that story. Because we all have experienced some dark times with extended family and friends, and we all can relate to your story. But I want to know, what is something that people don't know about you that you would like them to know? It could be anything.
I think people would be surprised to know that I'm a very soft-hearted and sensitive person.
I
And
don't think so. I don't think so. Try next. Give me something else.
really, because most people see me in a different kind of role, right? Because
Oh,
sometimes people can see me in this role of all these things I've accomplished and all these things that I've been through and all these things I've done and all these things. And they don't know me as the soft person that I really am,
mm,
right? Because I
okay.
am, I'm very,
You're in work mode. You're focused. You do when they see you, you're always creating. So it's a different face they see.
I guess, well, I think what more so I mean is in just um, period. So you got to encounter the warmth of me because this is part of my ministry. Like just who I am and what the music. When I say a soft-hearted and sensitive person, I mean as in like um, I really do. I really do feel what's happening. Like I can be with someone and I can just really I pick it up. Like I can't explain it. You know, if
The
I have to
empathy,
feel, I
yeah.
would say, you know, I know the Holy Spirit speaks to me in a way where I am um, very conscious of things, and I will know it before I know it. And I
Mm,
think that sometimes because either people see me in this very strong light, you know, because of all that I've accomplished, or if they see me in the very caring light, they don't see the part of me that the part of me that I truly wanted people to know. And
mhm.
I don't think that I don't, it's not that I'm hiding that part of me. I think it's just, it's the part of me that you are not able to share with everybody, unfortunately. Right. And I think that that desire to want to share that part of me, so that people can understand all the multifacets that I am, then they and understand that whenever that they get a different part of me, that this is just, wow, okay, the complete you. I see you in the complete you.
Out. You just took the words out of my mouth. I said you want people to be able to say, "I see you."
Yeah,
Like whatever you're throwing them, they can look beyond the surface. You want people who can see
yeah.
your soul and speak. I totally get that. So
Because I think that's something I can do. Like I feel like that's partly just maybe this is what a gift God gave me in order to be of service in the way that I am. That I
mhm.
must see people this way, and I realize that this is not something that is reciprocal. It's just not, and not that I desire everyone to know me this way because I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
But I do understand very clearly that yeah, that the complete me is not someone that's not someone that everybody gets to meet, and kind of sucks, but at the same time it is what it is. I mean, God knows.
Right. And you can't be out here spreading who you are to everybody because not everybody can take care of it. As Tayana Taylor said the other day, she said, "I am a cup of tea."
There you go.
Okay,
Gentle.
handle me like a cup of
Yeah,
tea. So I like that analogy, and that stuck with me.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. People always get that idea wrong when they see you in performance and showmanship and how you can control the audience and showmanship. That is part of the talent, but that's not the core person, right? That's not the core person. And I think that a lot of people, unfortunately, don't get a chance to get to know the core person of performers. You know, they
But
don't.
I saw it. I saw it. From
Mm,
from off the rep. That's why I say I see you. I got to talk to you. I didn't even know all this was, in you, but I knew something was in you that I wanted the world. Well, not the world. Well, who knows? But
yeah,
I
girl,
wanted people
hold your platform and
to hear. Yeah, I saw you. So yes.
thank you
What
so
are
much.
some I guess life changing lessons you've learned or something you've learned about yourself through your creativity and traveling the world? Whichever one.
Okay, so
She was like, those are two big
big
questions.
ones, yeah, big ones, right? How do I? Okay, life
You could pick
changing,
one. You could, oh no, okay. You could do both, just one from each.
life changing. I would say forgive fast, man. Like
Mm.
forgive fast. And
Get off my line. I just had to pray to God about forgiving somebody. God, you talking to me right
all
now?
day, every day,
Okay.
all the time. Oh Lord, I
It's
forgive.
hard. It's hard.
Because again, this goes right back to my first saying, like, you know, I understand people don't know the complete me, and I understand that, and I'm more okay with that now than I was before. Right? I'm not. I used to think that I needed to try to help people see that part of me, and I realized that I'm actually not interested in everybody knowing because the majority of them don't even know how to handle that. Right?
Mhm.
Part of me, and that's okay, right? I know how to hold space for someone else, and it's okay if you don't know how to hold space for me. I just understand that I could not entrust that part of myself with you. And wow, what was the other one you asked me
The
for?
other one was, what is something you learned about yourself through your creativity and traveling the world?
Uh, that wow, maybe I guess I would just say that I can. Yeah, I can. I think I can. I think that that's a complete statement for me. I think I had to understand that regardless of what was going on in all my travels, everything that's happened, good, bad, indifferent, um, I can. And I was still able to do whatever I needed to do. there's some kind of switch that just goes off, and I don't know if that's healthy. But I credit God with that ability to just say at the times where I wasn't able to, He gave me the strength to do the rest.
God,
So I could.
God is able to do just what. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to church with y'all. Okay, so Sister Denise said she can relate to what you're saying, and Brother Thomas said he's a pastor. He said not forgiving keeps you in bondage. So he's probably been all about this conversation because he's a pastor. But yes, see, I can relate to what you're saying too, but girl, it is hard,
Oh,
the
absolutely,
forgiving part. Um I mean,
absolutely.
it's easy in some places and some it's not so much.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get there.
Amen.
What is something that you would tell your younger self?
Hold tight, baby girl. You have yet to see what's really going down. You have yet to see what's going to go down. Like, hold tight. I think one part we did not discuss and was the fact that in my growing up, I was constantly starting over. So I went to a different school every year of my life, which is wild. But at the same time, I think God was really trying to prepare me in a way that would bring again that resilience that would help me understand people and help me understand myself. And when it took a long season, right? Because you go through the people pleasing phase, you go through the I just want to fit in phase, you go through the I just want them to like me phase, you go through all of that stuff. And then one day you wake up and you say, wow, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made just the way I am. That's a game changer. And I now understand people in a different way where now I can actually relate to them and really just see them for who they are and not judge them for what might be happening. Some people really don't treat you well. And even in the fact that they don't treat you well, you can still have grace for them in a way that allows you to say, I understand this is different. All that your life has brought you to this way of thinking and this way of behaving. I pray for you and I hope that you can um, come to understanding of what you're actually challenged with, and I hope that that can actually be freeing for you in one day, because I'm not going to hold it against you. I forgive you, and I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm still going to show you love. I'm still going to do these things, and that's part of that. Hey, love your brother as a neighbor, your neighbor as yourself. You can't love somebody else unless you have full love for yourself. So I can't hold on to any hate or anything for anyone, and I've not been treated the best. But God is still faithful to me, and I understand I have a love for myself now that I love myself enough to just love people where they are.
Love them where they are. I agree. And sometimes it gotta be from a distance.
Absolutely. We never said that wasn't the case now. There's some that you got to be across the fence. Sometimes they got to be in a zone, and others you got to be on the other side of the world. I
I'm
understand.
just saying sometimes.
I
So
know.
what's next on your journey? Like you have the Rainwell app that you're in beta for. You have your music. You said that it's been sparked after 10 plus years. Do you have any new projects coming out? I know the shift is still happening, right? Even though you shifted, the shift is still happening. And it's funny because I posted that and some guy, I guess found me through the hashtags. He said, "You've given me the courage to, when I go out to Lisbon, to perform." And then he reached out to you, and I'm still in that chat because
Wow,
I don't want
really?
to leave the chat. So I'm still in like your chat where you're still because I
Yes.
just want to be a part of the community, even though I don't do anything.
Hey,
But shout out to artist Joe Mack. He signed up for you. He said he's not going to be there till like November, but he reached out to you so that he could be
reach
a
out
part
to
of
me.
it. So, look, just a simple post is from the U.S. Got people coming to Lisbon. So, you're touching lives. You are making names, and I pray that you continue. I know that you will continue to go far and wide with whatever you got going on. So, what's next?
The next is to just keep going. Right now, I think I'm thinking less about what's next, and I'm looking at what haven't I finished. Right. So, um,
Come on.
Yeah, that's what I'm focused on right now. What haven't I finished? Let's talk about that. So when it comes to what I'm finishing, I did release a single at the top of the year in February called "Real Deal." We all have our challenges in love, but I believe that God has a special love for us all. And aside from it being with Him, I do believe in partnership and marriage and all those things, right? So I had lots of songs that were about heartbreak and stuff, and I was, put it forth in my mind. I didn't want to release. I didn't want my first project after 10 years to be about heartbreak, and so I like prophetically just was like, no, I'm gonna sing a song about the real deal. And I wrote that song in the midst of a very, very challenging heartbreak that I thought that was like something else, and it wasn't. And I was like, well, God, you know what? Let's say what it is. What does love really look like? Based on your word, in 1 Corinthians 4:13. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna sing a song about the real deal love. All right, forget that. And it was one of the first songs that I performed around here in Lisbon, and that is something I want to continue doing. I want to release the rest of the music that I have, and also want to continue working with Rainwell and just helping people to see how important it is to maintain our health in the most creative way so that it doesn't seem weird. We're on a side of the world where Western medicine is not a thing. We have a lot of the diaspora here where they don't really believe in the way of therapy. Some of them are now having the conversations about that. So I want to continue to have those conversations. I want to continue to release music that's uplifting and that's going to speak to the human soul. If I'm not talking about social things, I'm speaking directly to the soul of the human, and I want to speak life and sing life into that. So that's what we're gonna continue working on. And what's next will be what's next.
No, I love that because as a creative, we often have so many ideas and we leave a lot of strings untied. So I love that going back. Two things. I want to go back to something. I knew I wanted to say something and I forgot. This is for the people, them. So she made a
Okay,
comment that
I love
that growing up, that she went to a new school every year and she saw that as preparation. And there's so many times that I look back at my life in hindsight and I say, that was preparation.
that.
And so when we start getting in the mindset that every single thing God does not waste, we can start looking at life a little bit differently. Instead of why me, what are you preparing me for?
Yeah.
What am I going to experience after this? What am I supposed to learn so that I can be released from this season? And so that was just a quick reminder for me that nothing is wasted and that in our life, in our journey, everything you're going through and dealing with is preparing you for something else. So just keep your ears and your eyes open and your spiritual mind and heart aligned with the Holy Spirit so that you can get what's supposed to be got.
Come on,
Okay.
get out.
And now the second part is, as you were talking about all the things that you had going on and the thing that you want to do, which is speaking to the human soul. As I was here before I came on, I listened to this song and I feel like it was like the second bar. Well, I'm a rap, I say bar, the second line. And I started tearing up.
Mm.
I started tearing up. Can you guess what song it could have possibly have been? I'm gonna play it for the people. Them.
My
Hey,
song.
put it in the chat if you want to hear. Let me see you say play it. Okay. What do you have any idea what song I could have heard that by the second line? I was over here like, oh, touch the soul immediately.
Of my songs, like
Yes, song. Yes. Look at
um,
you. You don't even know how it touched you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I usually end it with the poem. This my segments. The episode with the Spirit of a Woman poem. But we are going to. Okay, he said play it. So we are going to um end out the show. I'm gonna play the video and I'm gonna come back to say goodbye to y'all. But I'm going to end the show or end the segment with this song that the second I heard it, I just fell in love with it immediately. And then I'm gonna give you a hint. Maybe you could figure it out. That's when I found out that you were a multi instrumentalist. Because I was like, oh, she's playing that too?
Easy.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, mute yourself because if I play it, I'm gonna hear it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna play a song by Miss Giel. Is it on an album or anything? Okay, what's the name of the album?
Yes, that is on my first album, The Message Behind the Music.
The album is called The Message Behind the Music. You can find it on YouTube with Giel. As I am playing it, feel free to write all your information in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, this song, the video touched me. And as I'm listening to this interview, it makes perfect sense. So here we go. Let me mute myself.
Are you broken hearted? Are you hurting inside? Has it gotten too heavy? Are you living a lie? Well, I know that it can't be easy pretending you don't need the help. But oh, it can be easy if you would just reach out to him, and he'll find you where you are. So just bring to him your heavy burdens, all you broken, sick and hurting, tossed like a leaf on the wind. He's the one that you can turn to when everybody else has burned you. Give him your burdens and then cry out to Jesus. 'Cause his yoke is easy. His yoke is easy. Easy.
Girl, listen. She sang and played the guitar and piano and the drums and the steel band. You gotta go watch the replay to get all of that information, y'all. Thomas said, outstanding. I just got a text that says, I'm requesting you to do a praise dance to this song. So I got a request for me to do a praise dance to this song, girl.
Wow,
I was feeling it so funny because I think that's why I felt it, because I immediately saw the choreography as I was listening to the song. So yes, I was like, oh yeah, we might have to make that happen on a good old Sunday. I will definitely. They said, wow, ma'am, you are overflowing. We could have had this conversation for 3 hours, but we already know you just have so much to share. And I can't wait for your journey where it slowly trickles out and the world will see it. And thank you, because ladies and gentlemen, I believe it's about 1:40 a.m. where she is right now. So we know that sister girl needs to get her beauty rest, okay? But I thank you so much for joining me tonight. Tonight. And is there anything else you want to say to the people, whatever, before you head out?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Like, I really, really enjoyed this conversation. I don't get a chance to share my full testimony often, but I really enjoyed this. I thank you for sharing your platform with me, and just for the work that you're doing for women, and just encouraging them, and how you've been using your own story in conjunction with women around the world. Thank you for what you're doing. And to your audience, wow, I mean, what an amazing, powerful, and super talented woman you are. For them, I know why they are following you. I know why they are supporting what you're doing. So I just honor it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And this is not the last time we will speak. I will find my way in Lisbon somehow, some way.
Yes.
I did.
I would be in New York, but
Oh, that part. I did put her website on there. If anybody loved that song, it is on her website. Go down there, go like it, go download it on the Spotify, wherever it is, and let's run up the streams. Thank you for sharing your experience. Yes, put some hearts and likes and love for her in the chat. They have been showing mad love to you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for another beautiful episode of Spirit of a Woman. And in the meantime and in between time, remember, it is your time to shine and aspire to inspire. Ladies and gentlemen, have a blessed evening. Bye.
Sexy. Life. Creation. Welcome to the Spirit of a Woman.